I'm Brian, and this is my Cirrus SR22.
This is one of my favorite general aviation airplanes. It's a Cirrus SR22. In my opinion, they were one of the first production airplanes to introduce composites and full glass avionics. Brian was nice enough to fly down from Denton to Mesquite Airport to meet me to do the interview in flight.
My name is Brian Turner. I've been a pilot since October of 2013. It's something I wanted to do. I was fascinated with anything that flew since I was a baby. I guess as I was getting out of college, I went to some of the different flight schools and said, how much does it cost to learn to fly? And like, oh, it's $15,000 or some crazy number. And I'm like, I don't have that, so I'm never gonna do this. And then my wife, for one of my birthdays, got me a Discovery flight. And I remember going into it with a little trepidation thinking, oh, I hope I don't hate this. Being in a small plane, I hope it's not bumpy and scary, because this dream I have of one day doing this, like if I hate it, that dream's over. But I fell in love with it, and I was like, okay, I got to figure out how to do this. And so I started, stockpiling money to figure out how I was going to come up with this, 15 grand to pay for flying, because that's what I heard it cost. This is kind of goofy, and on paper it sounds dumb, but I got on Craigslist and started searching for flight instructors. And I found this guy out of Gainesville named Brandon Ayers Aviation. And I was like, okay. I called him up and I said, can I just pay you by the hour? And he goes, absolutely, that's how it works. I was like, okay. So I went up there and I did an introductory flight with him, and then I would save up enough money to do, 5 or 6 hours of flight and go do like 2 flights a week. So it took me, I'd say about a year before I got my license. My father, he used to fly in the 80s and he quit. He decided he was gonna get back into it, and so he purchased a Cicada TB9, and I flew the wings off that thing just anytime. I don't care if I come home from work, hey honey, can I go fly? Can I go fly? I'm just gonna fly around the, any excuse to be flying. And so just racked up the hours in that. We got this Cirrus from Ocala, Florida, purchased from John Travolta's next door neighbor. It's kind of interesting going out there and picking it up and going, yeah, I've seen that house on the internet before. It's very fast, it's very easy to fly, it's not very complicated, and it does have the added safety of the ballistic recovery chute. So if something happens in flight, you got that. My dad was concerned if something happens to him, mom can, pull it or whatever. And I certainly like that feature. This is a fantastic cross-country plane. I'm on a lot of flying forums, and you have different fly-ins that you go to. And so I've taken this one out to Gaston's, Arkansas to do fly-ins there. So anytime people are gathering somewhere that's a really long distance, or if I'm taking my wife and kids, we tend to take this plane just because it has the added safety. So it's definitely a get-there plane. Best thing about this plane is the creature comforts. It is a extraordinarily roomy, comfortable, ergonomic aircraft for the pilot, for the passengers. It's got the side stick instead of the yoke, so if she wants to read a book or whatever, there's not a yoke there. Just because of my personal flying style, I don't like that. I'm not supposed to take it into grass strips, because I do like to go to some of the restaurants and stuff where they've got grass strips. One minor annoyance, the controls are spring-loaded. And so, people will kind of rag on that because you don't get tactile? I don't know, because you don't get the feedback when you're flying slow. Your controls don't get mushy. There's still that spring in there, but it really does. If you're flying in a long cross country, you're like, I'm just going to use the autopilot. This is kind of annoying. And this is an IFR pilot's aircraft. This is designed to get up and go. It doesn't have retractable landing gear to mess with. It's got the constant speed prop, but there's no, I don't got to deal with that. It's handled by the plane itself, takes care of that for you. So I always plan for 165 knots, and that tends to be about where I end up on this. I'm burning right around 14 gallons per hour in cruise. Again, I know very little about the 20, and from what I've heard from people who know about both planes, anytime someone pops on a forum saying, hey, I'm deciding between a 20 and 22, everyone's like, if you can get the 20s, get the 22, because I understand the useful load is higher, the speed is higher, and so it's, if you're already spending this much, if you can, spend that much more and get what this has to offer, people say go for it. So my YouTube channel is Just Plain Silly, and it started as a fluke. I used to write a lot on airplane forums because I love writing and I love satire, and that was just my thing to do. And so when I started flying this plane, there was this little niche group of pilots that were just like angry and like, I can't land a plane without a chute, and you give me a set of Tundra tires and I can put any plane in, just macho ego pilot stuff. And I was like, man, it was like, I don't know why it bothered me. It grated on me. I've never used the chute. I don't even know it's in there. There's a sign that says it is, but who knows? I was just flying from Denton to Gainesville. It was a 20-minute flight one day, and I said, I'm just gonna make a joke and throw it on this forum where I've been flying, just like, I'll show you how to land a Cirrus. And so I made this video. Most of it I just did on the fly. I kind of added some stuff after the fact. And then I posted it up on YouTube and on pilotsofamerica.com. And within a couple of days, it had 800 views. And someone was like, this thing's at 800 views, it's taken off. And I was like, oh my God, 800 views, I'm famous. Not really, but I was like, and then it just grew and grew and grew and grew, and I was like, man, I'm gonna try to do this again, and so I made a video how to pre-flight a Cirrus, and same thing happened. I was like, okay. So I never had a desire to create a YouTube channel, but I love satire. I love writing satire. I don't know, it's got some momentum, and of course I enjoy the feedback. And I have a blog, justplainsilly.com, which I update once a year. Very, very rarely. I'd like to do it more.
Okay, all right, you wanna go fly, maybe?
Yeah, we can fly. We'll probably have to scud run a little bit out here, and then we could probably get on top. Clear. So what we'll do is we'll take off that way and maybe get above this mast. I got weather on here, so.
Okay.
Yeah, and I kind of like this. This obviously got the steam gauges over here. I know a lot of them have, most of them now have both.
Right.
In glass, but I always like just going to one instrument for one piece of information.
Right.
I tried to fly with a friend once. He's got this ass, and I'm like, I don't know what information to get where. All right, Alpha, hold short at Delta.
So I guess that's one of the things that a lot of people like about this airplane is being a high performance airplane, yet the prop is just, it's connected to the throttle. You don't have to mess with the prop and all that.
Yeah. If we have a real problem, you make it to a video of a shoot.
Yeah, hopefully not.
That gets you some views.
Yeah, oh, that would, I'm sure. That'd be a costly thing to do, though.
It would.
That's one of those things I've always heard, is even though these airplanes have a chute, if you can, even if you lose the engine, if you can land it without using the chute, dude, so you're better off doing that. Because if you use the chute, you're basically totaling the airplane.
For the most part. Let's get ground, Cirrus 25 Mike Victor is holding short of Delta.
2 Mike Victor, continue holding short of Delta, Romeo's coming out here shortly.
Cirrus 25 Mike Victor, Mesquite Tower, same direction of flight.
VFR departure to the south, 25 Mike Victor.
Cirrus 5 Mike Victor, wind 170 gust 16, altimeter 299.8, back taxi approved, runway 18 clear for takeoff, proceed on course.
All right, back taxi approved, 18 clear for takeoff, on course 25 Mike Victor. So there are, I think, 14 Cirrus that have had chute deployments that are back in operation.
And so the 14 chutes have deployed and they've been totaled all of them, or what?
No, there are 14 that are still flying.
Oh, okay.
There's been, I think, I forget how many deployments, but depending on how it comes down, so they're able to, if you want to spend the money,
Yeah.
get it back in flying condition again. But for the most part, the rule of thumb is that they're totaled. All right, trim set, mixture's rich, fuel pump on, flaps are set to half. All right, mixture rich, flaps half, fuel pump's on, everything looks good. All right, 50, 60, 70.
Nice little hole right over there.
Yeah, that's pretty. All right, flaps going up.
Yeah, it doesn't use a whole lot of runway.
Not at all.
Cirrus 5 Mike Victor, frequency change approved.
All right, thanks. Have a good day, 25 Mike Victor. Oh man, this is gorgeous.
Yeah, it's a nice day.
Beautiful day to fly now.
Yeah.
So right now we're 140 knots at 65% power.
Yeah, that's pretty good. So going back to what I was saying earlier, kind of the unique thing out of Cirrus for the people that don't know is that the most high-performance airplanes do have the adjustable pitch prop.
Correct.
And it's kind of a pain to manage for a lot of pilots.
Sure.
Because it's another, well, you got to adjust it every time you make a power adjustment and all that.
Yeah, I have, I always kind of joke that I've got somewhere between 500 600 hours, and I still don't know how to use a blue knob. I have never used one, I don't know.
Yeah. But with this, so like the prop is, you know, the Cirrus, I guess it just has an automatic governor that governs the prop pitch itself, and it's mixed in with the throttle.
Yeah, it's connected to linkage.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting, I do have a manifold pressure gauge, but there's nothing I can do with it.
Right. But you're probably just required by the FAA to have a manifold pressure gauge. I always like these Cirruses. They're,
I mean, it's you know, hands off, and I can turn the heading on. And it just go. I mean, you can do all the commercial stuff. You know how these things work.
Yeah.
The autopilot thing in this is like it's on rails, man. It's just good on. And so I'm burning 20 gallons per hour. So I'm going to put my mixture back. You're going to see my exhaust temperatures rise.
right.
So people on the internet like to fight about lean at peak versus rich at peak.
Right.
So we're going to go lean at peak. So it's going to look for the first cylinder to peak, and then it's going to look for the last cylinder to peak, and then about 30 to 40 degrees past peak is going to say best economy.
Really?
So
That's cool. So it does it automatically.
Well, no, I'm doing it.
I mean, I'm saying, but you don't have to. It just takes the guesswork out of it for you.
Yeah. So there's the first peak, and the last one peak. So now here's the temperature past peak: 10 degrees, 11, 12, 13. Now when it gets down to, I think 30.
So are you taking it more lean?
Yeah, gently, very, very. So best economy. So now when this stabilizes, I'm going to normalize. That's going to create the new normal. And so now anything hotter or colder, so one's dipping down a little bit. And what'll happen is now when I go back to my map, my cylinder head temperatures are there. My exhaust temperatures will go up and down. So now one of them is -10, and so I know where it's at. So as I descend, these numbers will go up or go down. And so it's not like most planes where you just go full rich and land. I lean as I go down.
Yeah.
And so you're always kind of flying
rich, yeah.
optimal.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, so, I said one of the things I dislike is that the controls are spring-loaded, but it's nice because normally when you steer a plane, the yoke will kind of hang there. But since these are spring-loaded, I'm going to roll the plane. So when I turn, it kind of locks into position, and so it's almost like just they go back to neutral, so it sort of locks into wherever you put it.
That's cool. Yeah. Yeah, these Cirruses, I mean, they were, the first real production airplane that kind of really took aerodynamics into their, design for the fuselage and stuff and all that, I mean.
Lightning. I love the plane, man. This plane just really does everything. And like if you're in flight, like I can get the charts for the airport. I can go to trip, I can get info, get the runways, the frequencies, all that kind of stuff in flight. For being a small GA aircraft, it really does a lot.
Yeah.
Mesquite Tower, Cirrus 25 Mike Victor.
Here's right there.
Cirrus 25 Mike Victor, Mesquite Tower.
Yeah, 25 Mike Victor is 7 miles south-southeast inbound with information Romeo.
Cirrus 5 Mike Victor, enter left downwind, runway 18, report midfield.
Left downwind 18, report midfield, 25 Mike Victor. I don't think I've ever been out here.
Cirrus 5 Mike Victor, runway 18, clear to land in sight, wind 16011, gust 16.
18 clear to land, 25 Mike Victor. Alright, everything looks good, airspeed looks good, flaps down, turn base. Birds up here.
Yeah. I've hit birds in the Gulfstream and such, but never in a little plane. I take that back. I hit a little sparrow or something once with my twin Comanche, but it just bounced off the wing. Ooh, like that little hawk right there, dude. Oh. Bleep that out, sorry.
Oh, because of that bird, this is going to be ugly.
That's all right. I'd rather not hit. I'd rather
have an ugly landing and not hit a bird.
Hit a hawk in the Gulfstream right off the nose once, man. It was loud. Scared the crap out of me.
Not too bad.
Nice.
Airspeed looks good. Red over white.
More birds, damn. All right. Well done, sir.
Thank you. I swear, anytime I film anything, I never make the center line. I was very...
Oh, you were right.
I was like, okay, good.
Yeah.
5 Mike Victor, turn right at Delta taxi to park this frequency.
Right at Delta taxi to park this frequency, 25 Mike Victor.
All right, Brian, thank you so much, man.
All right, thank you for having me.
It was a pleasure. It's a great airplane. I love flying in it. We'll go fly it again sometime.
All right, man, have a good one.
All right, thank you. Well, thank you for watching another episode of Flying Doodles. We have more content coming to you every week. We'll try to be putting these out faster and faster as we can. So if you want me to go fly with you in an airplane, send me a link, a message in the link below. And thank you so much. If you are enjoying the channel, please consider becoming a patron. There's a link in the show notes for that. Thank you so much, guys.